Hello, and greetings from Lost Canyon. I'm retired Imagineer Jim Shull, and welcome to Disney Journey. Now, in today's Disney Journey, we're going to be talking about Disneyland Forward. As we all know, it's been in the news, and let's dig into it. History proves that what's announced by the Disney company isn't necessarily the version of the project that opens. The proposed Disney MGM Studios Europe. When it opened, well, it opened as the Disney Studios Paris. And soon it'll become Disney Adventure World, not even a studio. Turning our attention to Westcott Center in Anaheim, you can see originally the plan was very different. And you can see here Future World, or at least its version of Future World. But of course, it became the Disney's California Adventure. In 2012, I was part of the project to reimagine this park in DCA 2.0. But let's turn our attention now to Disneyland Forward. Disneyland Forward has been before the Anaheim City Council, which recently has passed the second of the two required approvals. And very soon, well, we don't know what it'll look like, but it might look like this. Or this. While we don't know what the park will look like, we definitely know there'll have to be new parking. Well, because you can't expand anything without parking, can you? But it brings me to the point here that really this new project is like a plate of spaghetti. Complicated. As we look at the Disneyland Hotel site, we get a good idea of how the land has been transformed over the decades, and thus how the land may be transformed in the future. So basically what I'm saying is this is a complicated project, like a plate of spaghetti. So you need to look past the pasta and at the important things. And so therefore this project is really many separate projects. All the separate projects share one thing in common, and that is land usage. It's what do you do with the land you have. And you can see over the decades how Disneyland transformed itself with the land they had. So one of the projects will be providing parking for this family, and they'll be coming into a new parking garage located here on this site. You can see this is concept art, and we don't know what it'll finally look like, but we know it'll hold a lot of cars. The Hollywood backlot area and the drop-off area will be directly impacted by this new change, this addition of a new parking lot. You can see in this image where, well, think about the site this way. Remember that spaghetti we talked about? Everything in red is a parking garage, the blue is the new security, and the green, well, those are the new bridges over. And one bridge may land here. So back to our spaghetti. It's not a plate, it's a lot of straight pieces of pasta. And they all have to happen before you can build anything. Now, that applies to trash cans because, well, trash cans have to have a trash compactor backstage. And that is one of our spaghetti strands, which is required before Disneyland Forward can become a reality. So moving on, well, there are going to be places to stay. The release site plan shows the current parking lot will be used differently for hotels, parking, landscaping, and dining. But first you got to tear down before you can build. And to that end, Magic Way, well, it's going to be closed to the public. The Disneyland Resort says they'll still have pedestrian traffic, but it won't be like it is currently being used today. When viewed from above, you start to get an idea of just how much land Disneyland Resort has in this location. The former parking lot can be transformed in many, many, many ways that we don't know about yet entirely. However, it's going to be transformational. Probably you'll still arrive at Mickey and Friends and Pixar pals aboard the tram. But the experience in the future, when Disneyland Forward is complete, will be entirely different. The neighbors will be impacted by the changes, the parking lot will be impacted, and the hotels themselves. You start to see a pattern here. And the pattern is that Disneyland opened, well, with a parking lot. And that was given over to DCA. But before that, there was a miniature golf course close by. And next to that was Vacation Land, where you could stay in your mobile home on acres and acres of beautiful asphalt. Again, the note here is that land is constant, but its usage is not. It was a few years ago that same parking lot was turned into downtown Disney, with the ESPN Club, which was right next door to the Rainforest Cafe. Again, two very popular restaurants and a key component of downtown Disney. The common denominator in all projects is that they change. Things that start one way usually end up completely different. But until you can start to ride, test, and adjust, or build mountains, or dream about Pandora, you gotta start at the beginning. Disneyland was built in Anaheim. But as this newspaper shows us, Disneyland was announced to be built in Burbank. So we've come to the end of today's journey, and we'll have another one really soon. But until we do, I'd like to invite you right now to go and like and subscribe to this vlog. And also send me questions, because I do read every single one, even if I don't answer them all. So until the next show, here's Jim Shull wishing you a great goodbye from Lost Canyon.